The primary purpose of a reserve study is for the budget development portion of your association's fiscal year, but its value doesn't stop when the budget is published. Throughout the year, you'll be faced with many spending decisions. Some you'll know in advance because they appear in your reserve study, and some are unexpected, forcing you to figure out if you should pay for it from operating or reserves. In this portion of our Breaking Down the Reserve Study webinar, I'll spend some time orienting you so you can make wise income and expense decisions throughout the year so you don't screw it up.
All right, let's turn towards talking about using the reserve study through the year. Primarily, a reserve study is used at budget time in the last 2 or 3 months prior to the start of your fiscal year as you're developing the budget, as you're looking at the reserve study, as you're communicating the results to the homeowners, as you're interpreting the results. But it is a document that you can effectively use throughout the year. And it starts out with, what's your to-do list? Well, this sample association that we've been looking at, there's not a long to-do list for this first year. And these boards of directors may be wiping their brow and saying, we lucked out. Because you look at this is a reserve component list year by year by year by year. You can see that in this initial year, this board has a lot of projects to start taking care of. And so in the first month of their fiscal year, they need to be starting their strategy, figuring out who's going to contact decking people, who's going to contact the siding people, who's going to contact the roofing people. And that's going to take some time. And so this is your assignment for what you're doing in the course of the year. Or it may be a different property. Here we go with a different one. This property has a balcony inspection project to do. They can assign that to someone and you can check it off. And what do we have? The little pool building roof. Simple project, not too big of a deal. But this is your to-do list for the year. And I just want to remind you that if you don't get to these projects, it doesn't save you any money. The projects don't go away. They still need to be done, but they'll get done next year. So you haven't really saved any money. You haven't crossed anything off. The expenses still stay there. And remember that most delayed projects end up costing the association extra money. And that's because something as simple as painting the building, I guess that's not simple, but I should say as straightforward as painting the building. If you don't do that, then all of a sudden you have dry rot issues and you have the extra cost of all the carpentry repairs. You just have to be very careful because in many cases, delayed projects cost extra money. So by deferring a year, you've just shot yourself in the foot. Deferred projects often get 20 to 50% more expensive. You add inflation to it, and that's just a bad decision. Okay, you may have a project that is, wonder, wow, I thought it was a reserve project. It seems like it should be a reserve project, but I don't see it here on the component list. How do we pay for this, operating or reserves? And you can look at the National Reserve Study Standard 4-part test. Is it a common area of responsibility? Does it have a limited useful life? Does it have a predictable remaining useful life? And is it above a minimum cost? And we'll talk about this when we do our Breaking Down the Reserve Components webinar that's coming up. But then again, I suggest that this perhaps isn't your problem. Maybe it's a whole lot easier if you just plain contact a reserve study provider and say, okay, how should we handle this expense coming up? We need to repair a corner of the roof. We need to replace the pool pump. Something big, something small. How do we do this project? And just get some wise counsel from your reserve study provider. Because we're trying to make sure that you don't spend your reserves, those precious reserves, carelessly. You're going to need them for your reserve project. We don't want you letting your reserve money leak out to other things, especially not leaking out to the operating budget. The operating budget needs to be standing on its own because you're going to need to fight for those reserve projects. All those reserve projects need dollars too. If someone is saying that, but our insurance has gone up, and yes, your insurance has gone way up over the last 12 or 24 months, but your roof is getting more expensive also, and your roof is not going away, and your roof deteriorated a whole bunch last year. So don't shoot yourself in the foot and use all your roof money or whatever reserve money paying for insurance. all your reserve projects need dollars also. So fight to maintain your reserve funding through the year. And maybe that means you need to raise your assessments mid-year. If that's the facts of the matter, that's what you need to face.
At Association Reserves, we make the present less stressful and the future more secure. If you want to join us in this mission, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment down below on what you'd like to see us address in a future video. Let's plan for your best future.